Hello, I'm Rusty. Welcome back to Perk Industries. Yes, Perk Industries. Um, Today, I'd like to discuss and talk a little bit about a product that we posted last month. A product called Ether, made by a company called Soma Industries. This wonderful little box of tricks takes into account and observes around you um electromagnetic signals, radio waves, a kind of anti-radio they call it. It's not tuned, um, but there is a wonderful video on their website where they talk a little bit about it in action, and they have this device, someone with it, wandering around what I think is Moscow, looking at different objects which give an electromagnetic signal off. There's some wonderful sounds that they come across in the underground, on trains, out about on the streets, touching railings, and a really interesting bit right at the end where they are stood in the middle of nowhere in the snow, and yet it picks up other types of otherworldly sounds around them. It got me thinking when I went to go order one that there was an article by Make, and it was one of their weekend projects, which was to listen to weird electromagnetic field sounds, all based around the theory of an inductor, quite a simple variable circuit, something you could build over the course of a weekend. And this was published about 3 years ago, and I duly bought all the components 3 years ago and never got around to doing it. So upon trying to order one of these ethers by Soma, I've been put on a waiting list till I get one, amongst other people waiting as well. I thought, well, in the meantime, why not go back to the Make project, which I'll link as well, and see if we can put that together and see if there is maybe not as good a result, because the Soma is supposed to be a far superior device, but at least in the meantime, see how that worked. And I was kind of inspired by the video that Soma put together for the Ether, because it's quite a cool sort of first-person journey down the winding streets of Moscow, and sort of hunting for sounds. Yeah, I've been in touch with them. As I say, I'm on the waiting list to get one. I'm really looking forward to having a play with one, sort of electro exploring of sorts. But in the meantime, what I've put together now is a build video and some testing of the Make Weekend project, which is entitled "Listen to Weird Sounds from Electromagnetic Fields." I'm kind of satisfied with some of the results we got. Some of the things were a little bit on the dull side, but some of the sounds could be potentially useful for some kind of other projects, and maybe we'll get into experimenting with some of those sounds and some effects to see what they do. So in the meantime, here's the build, and we'll follow that up with a bit of experimenting and hunting around the house. So, clearly, there are some terrible sounds or nothing at all that can be found from the Make project, the inductor. And I'm really hoping the Soma Ether provides a lot more interesting sort of soundscapes and a lot more sort of interesting, obviously radiation or whatever other worldly things it might unearth. And the whole sort of idea of going exploring with it appeals. Having been in touch with the designer, a fella called Vlad, he says that it's quite difficult to record with it because obviously any recording device that you may have, even a small sort of portable audio recorder, will still provide some element of electro radio waves of some sort, and that will provide interference with whatever you're trying to record. So he's trying to sell it as a sort of exploratory tool that you can just sort of go and have a play with. I'm keener to try and sort of archive any of these recordings and add them to some kind of I don't know, some kind of musical project, sound project or whatever, or a sample pack. So yeah, I think when it arrives, God knows when, so it could be months, we'll look at it again and go exploring again. I'll try and link you to the video where they make a song with the ether, but I'll have a go with some of the sounds that I've done with our Make Inductor circuit and see if we can just sort of process them with some couple of maybe guitar pedals, effects units, and just sort of see what we come up with.